Welcome to Monday Night. Initiate the Monday Night Rants Sports Show. The show about sports news, insider fantasy info, entertainment, comedy and more. Number 682nd watch show on Monday night. Start the show in 3, 2, 1.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Monday Night Rants. Wow, it's been a week already. And yet still LeBron James is the number one news story in all the world. I go on my Bleacher Report every morning when I wake up, and all the news is either LeBron James, somebody joining LeBron James, or Summer League. That's why I call this area like the week before the All-Star game is like the black hole of sports of the year. Football hasn't quite caught on yet. You know, we're kind of still waiting for the Hall of Fame game the first week of August. Basketball's over, hockey's over, baseball's in the middle of the season. Really not a whole lot going on. So, you know, that's why we still try to bring you the best that we can during these dark times, as I call them. And try to, you know, get you going with fantasy football early. You know, we're going to be talking about baseball all night tonight. It's mid-season report. The All-Star game was announced yesterday. Who's in it? Who's not in it? And why are they in it? But luckily for us, at the same time, once every 4 years, God gifts us with the World Cup. And what a World Cup it's been this year. A fantastic one. USA or not, I've enjoyed every bit of it. I have English in my blood, so I'm going for England now. And I'm really excited to see what the script will write tomorrow and Wednesday before the weekend. And who will be in the final. I did predict England and Brazil. I can still get 50% of that right. But now I'm going to say England-France. England Francais in the final. But because I don't want to jinx myself, I'm going to say England loses. And France wins the whole thing. Because I'm a jinx. Either that or I just like really terrible teams. Well, which is also true. So, there you go. There's my final four predictions for the World Cup. God save the Queen. There we go. Beautiful games over the weekend. That Croatia-Russia game, man, I did not want that game to end. Phenomenal football, or soccer as you would put it. What a watch. And if you didn't watch it, you need to go back and check it out, because it is worth repeating. Extra time goals to take the lead and tie in extra time, which is unheard of, just to go to once another penalty kick shootout. Which brings me to my first so-called rant of the evening, the penalty kick shootout. I've gotten a lot of arguments about people saying, why do they do penalty kicks in soccer? They don't do it in hockey in the playoffs. Well, you're right. They don't do it in hockey in the playoffs. But here's one thing that you probably don't realize, is these people are running around a giant field for 2 hours. No commercial breaks. And they only have 3 subs. Now they added the new rule where you get the 4th sub in extra time. That's it. In hockey, 1 minute shifts. You get to rest. You don't get to rest in hockey. You don't get to rest in soccer. I don't feel like you should let them just keep on playing until someone scores a goal, because that can go hours. It become cricket with all these guys half dead trying to walk around at the field at this point trying to score a goal. I love the penalty shootout. I say keep it in soccer. The whole thing. The drama of it. And there's skill involved. There's a lot of skill involved. The goalie versus your mind. Where are you going to place it? Are you going to miss it? Keep it. So all you haters that say the penalty shootout in soccer, or from the spot, is not good for the game, go screw yourselves. It's the best part of the game, especially in the World Cup. So if you haven't heard, last Tuesday night I was actually on Sirius XM. I was on the Colton and the Wolfman show. Yeah. And it was a wonderful experience. I would like to thank them personally for having me on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. And if you want to give a listen to what I had to say of all my great advice, including keeping the Traquan Smith super sleeper going, and also my Case Keenum love, of course, go ahead and check it out. It's on demand. I just saw it today on there. It even has my name on there, which kind of tickled me a little bit, not going to lie. So go check it out. If you have SiriusXM on the app or online, you can see the replay. It's going to be up for a few more weeks. Give a listen. Also, my good friend and co-worker Howard Bender is on there as well. He's the host of Fantasy Alarm Show, also daily on SiriusXM from 1 to 4 Pacific Standard Time. So check it out, guys. Check it out. Great stuff there. So now we've already done all of our football position by position for the last couple of weeks. We gave you your quarterbacks. We gave you your running backs. We told you why Sonny Michel is going to be better than Jay Ajayi. We told you why Traquan Smith could be your last pick and a starter every day going forward. And we also told you why Austin Seferian-Jenkins is a top 10 tight end and why kickers still don't matter. So give it a listen to on the replays of MondayNightRants.com. We have everything on there, guys. You can watch, you can listen, SoundCloud, whatever. It's all there. Check it out, because tonight is All-Star break. So we're doing baseball only the rest of the night, followed by, at the very end of the show, the return. Yes, the return of Fantasy Sports Jeopardy. Yes, and it's the All-Star edition. So every question is going to be about All-Stars. Or All-Star games, at that matter. So it'll be a lot of fun. It's hard. These are some hard questions. So we'll see if the guys who joined me tonight are intelligent enough to know some of these players, because there's some tough ones. There's some reaches here. So let's hope that they got long elbows, because they're going to need to reach for some of these answers tonight without cheating. I allow no Google search. It's illegal. And if I find you Google searching, guys, dunzo. No more Fantasy Jeopardy for you. I'm like the soup Nazi of Fantasy Jeopardy. Yes. So with that being said, we're going right into it. MLB All-Star break is coming up next week. The All-Star game, which now means nothing. It used to mean home field advantage, or home stadium advantage. It does not anymore. It's still a fun watch. I enjoyed the home run derby myself. Still, I'm a little kid. Last year was incredible. Aaron Judge, who's hometown of my Fresno, California, and Fresno State Bulldogs, crushed it, and proud of him for that. I'm not even a Yankees fan, but I've become a Aaron Judge lover, as they would put it, as you can see by some of my lovely stuff I have here, like my Aaron Judge, yes, right, Jedi bobblehead. That's right. Yeah, and maybe I go a little too far sometimes, but what can you do? But the All-Star game is here. And yesterday, the All-Star rosters were announced. First, they announced what everybody knows because they post it every day. And my least favorite thing about All-Star games, especially in the NBA and MLB, the fan vote. Why do we have this? Why do we need a fan vote for starters in an all-star game? Remember those words, all-star. The best of the best who's had the best season so far in the all-star game. Or are they? Because they're not. You can't tell me Wilson Ramos is an all-star starter. I would like somebody, anybody, on chat, email, you can hit me up however you'd like, to tell me why he deserves to be the starting catcher. And don't tell me because the fans voted him in, because that is BS. The fan vote is pointless. It's an all-star game. It should be whoever has the best categories in their position, in their league, get to start. Those are all-stars. The worst case is the NBA. I'll give you 10 seconds on it. Dwayne Wade somehow keeps on getting voted into the starting lineup for the NBA All-Star Game. It's a popularity contest. It shouldn't even be called the All-Star Game. It should just be called the Fans Appreciation Game. There you go. In the NBA and the Major League Baseball, Fans Appreciation Day. And just have all the players that they like the most because they all voted to play in the game, because that's what it is. I love Bryce Harper, but Bryce Harper should not be starting this All-Star Game. Nick Markakis should not be starting the All-Star Game. And I hate to say it, I guess he does deserve to be in the All-Star Game. I guess that hurt me more. But it's not fun. Okay, here's why it doesn't work for small teams. Like, I'm a Padres fan. We don't have enough fans to vote anybody into a starter position. It'll never happen. Ever. All right? Sorry, Pittsburgh Pirates fans. Not going to happen for you either. Diamondbacks fans? Nope. Marlins fans? Nada. You have to be in these big markets to get these players in, and you have to be doing well. The perfect example is a few years ago, Kansas City was a top team, and their fans came together, and there was like half the team was the Kansas City Royals. They didn't deserve to be starters, all of them. It's not an all-star game anymore. It's a fan appreciation game. It's a popularity contest. Yeah. It might as well be most voted to be successful in a yearbook. That's what the starters of the All-Star Game are nowadays. Most voted, most popular. That's what it is. These players, even if they have down years, they still get voted in just because of their name. Oh, I've heard of that guy. Click. Well, what has that guy done? Why does he deserve to be an all-star? That was once a prestigious thing. Now I don't think it is as much anymore. When Wilson Contreras can be the starter on the National League All-Star team as the catcher. He wasn't the best. He hasn't been the best catcher so far this season. Not stats-wise. That was JT Realmuto. He's not the starter because Miami doesn't have enough fans, nor do they care because their team's terrible, to vote him in. It's not an all-star game. It's a popularity contest now. I understand the MLB wanting to get people involved, getting fans involved, so they matter because they want ratings. Oh, I voted for that guy. Congratulations, Cub fans. Your fan base is so big that you already have an upper hand over every other team in the National League just based on your fan base. It's not fair. And now I am 50-50 on the every player or every team should have a player represented in the All-Star game. That's not an All-Star game. Again, that's not an All-Star game. Yes, I'm going to be rooting for Brad Hand probably to blow the save at the end of the All-Star game. But does he deserve to be in there? It's kind of on the fence to me. But because every team has to be represented, so now some All-Stars who've had the year of their lives aren't even going to get in because the Pittsburgh Pirates has to have a player being represented on that team. It's not. So why is that an All-Star game? Why do we even call it an All-Star game anymore? We need to find a new name for it. I think it should just be called Fan Appreciation Week or something, because it's not an all-star game. They're not. The Pro Bowl's a joke. Half the players who get picked to be on the Pro Bowl don't even play in it, and then you have all the mediocre players step up to play in it because now they have nothing better to do that weekend. And that's the Pro Bowl. The only one that is kind of fun and actually is all-star worthy is the NHL game, and they've done a lot of revamps to it, which is really fun to watch. It's like a tournament setting where they do each conference has their all-stars and they play against each other, and there's a championship and there's $1 million on the line, so it means something. You know, $1 million to a lot of hockey players is like the world compared to like $500,000 for the Pro Bowl players. They sleep with it under their pillow at night. It's ridiculous. So as more and more as they try to change these things and make them different and make them more fun and add these fans votes and all this stuff, I don't think it's actually good. I think they need to go back to the original of what an all-star game is. The best players at their position playing together. Simple. I want to see the best. I want to see who's put in the most work, has the best stats, been playing all year so far, play against each other. I don't want to see Brad Hand play in an all-star game, and I'm a Padres fan because I don't think, how many, 5 blown saves? Yeah, he has a good arm, but I don't think he deserves to be an all-star. But he has to be because the Padres need somebody. Well, you know what? Sometimes maybe teams don't need somebody. Maybe they need a kick in the ass. You better start doing stuff because you haven't had all-star in 5 years. Maybe we should. It's ridiculous. So what we're going to do now is we're going to bring in the guys and we're going to talk about the all-star rosters, what we think about them, some snubs, and I'm going to talk about who I think is my mid-season MVPs, mid-season Cy Young Award winners, mid-season Rookie of the Years. It's not Gleyber Torres. And also our predictions for who's going to win it at the end. So who I have now, I may not have winning the Cy Young at the end. And also we're going to talk about who we think is going to win each division, wild card, and if we're going to see if our World Series picks from the beginning of the year, mine don't, actually still add up to this point. And we'll talk about if the Dodgers are actually going to pull this off, and I'll have to wear that stupid-ass clown outfit that Mr. Jake McGee brought to my attention. One of the first shows we ever did on this channel. So, without further ado, the man representing the alphabet from A to Z, Anthony Zaragoza, and Mr. on top of his hill and standing. Yeah, corny. I love it. Josh Stanhill and Anthony Zaragoza. How you guys doing? Brought to my attention. Oh, we're loud there. Hold on 1 second. 1 second, little technical. All right, now we're live.
You killed that intro.
I did kill it. I killed it because the volume was going on. I have to follow the chats and everything here. And sometimes I leave the volume on, and it's about 3 seconds behind. But I like hearing myself, so it was good to hear my voice.
You like what you hear?
I do. How you guys doing tonight?
Oh, man, it's beautiful, man. It's awesome.
Are you guys enjoying what I call the dark spell of sports at this time of year?
You know what? I kind of agree with you. It is kind of a grind right now. You know, we're not close enough to fantasy drafts yet for football. Camp hasn't started. The NBA first week free agent frenzy is kind of, past. So, yeah, as far as, the sporting world as a whole, it's a little rough. But, we got the World Cup, coming up this weekend, next weekend to kind of help out. And then, yeah, it is what it is. How about that? It is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. I'm with you there.
I still think the biggest news of the week was LeBron James announcing his 4-year retirement plan. I think that was it.
There it is. I don't think enough people really understood your whole 4-year plan on LeBron.
It's a good plan.
No, yeah. I think people were thinking, wait a minute, is he talking he's going to retire? Is he 38? I think there's a lot of confusion. I think when you broke it down, people kind of really understood, like, hey, when he's done with his contract, the guy's going to be 38. Unless he's Tom Brady, that's about it. He's done.
Yeah, he also doesn't have a pocket of big men protecting him all the time. So I don't know if he's going to make it past 38. Kobe didn't, but so we'll see there. Moving on, you guys got a chance to review the rosters yesterday that came out, I would imagine.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I did.
What is your overall take? Just don't name any players, but just overall take on the whole situation, as I said before, of the voting, the fan voting. Do you guys feel like it's still an all-star game or more of like a popularity contest, as I have mentioned?
I'm probably going to say it's, 50, 75% still all-star game, because you look at some of these lineups, there's some guys that are getting some really nice recognition, like Nick Markakis having a phenomenal year. He's voted as a starter. Matt Kemp, who's pretty much just a guy to pick up for, in the outfield for the Dodgers, and now he's starting in the outfield. So there are some good stories that guys are getting recognized. And then there's that 25% when you look at the roster and like, who? He's starting? So it's kind of a mixture, and I think as social media and everybody gets more involved with, just knowing everything up to the second, up to the minute, it kind of brings these things more to light. Like you said, Kansas City a few years ago, they had Perez, they had, everybody starting on that lineup. And every year it kind of moves. Obviously this year it's, going to be in Washington. So a guy like Bryce Harper is going to get those extra votes to start there. But,
Always.
For the most part, pretty good. But then there's that 25% on, it's still a popularity contest, and still goes back to those mega teams that are kind of dominating the voting polls there.
Yeah, it's still sad that it's even that 25% or so. Josh, what do you think about each team having a representative in the All-Star game? Do you think that's a fair assessment, or do you think it should be changed?
I think it should be changed. I mean, honestly, you're looking at teams, that might not be able they don't have an all-star on that team. So, why would you consider them to be an all-star then?
Very good point.
You're looking at just a team that, here you go, I'll give you credit. You should just give somebody to even if they don't even play an inning, just come on out and have a good time.
Yeah, and it takes a spot from somebody who's deserved of it. It really does. Felipe Vasquez for the Pittsburgh Pirates and Brad Hand, I'll admit, they're taking roster spots from people that deserve to be on the team. So it's I think, like I said earlier, it's more beneficial to the teams. It's like, man, we haven't had an all-star in 3 years. We need to do something. You know what I mean? Like a little kick to the ass, almost, if you would. Where your guaranteed one is kind of more of a, well, we're guaranteed one, so there's our money. So I don't know. I don't like it. I think it just be the best of the best by position. So for the most part, let's go over the National League starters first. I've already gave you my take on Wilson Contreras. I think Real Muto should be the starter there, just based on value and based on production this year. What other guys do you think do not deserve to be on the starter list as voted in by the fans, you the people? And who do you think should be on the starter list in the National League?
I think the first thing that kind of brings out, you kind of mentioned it, Bryce Harper. The power numbers are there for him this year, but, the guy his average is just horrendous right now. And I think, it's great for the fans because obviously you want to get viewership, you want to get the people in their seats. So having Bryce Harper starting in the lineup is going to bring some people to the ballpark. But when you got guys like, Charlie Blackmon or, even Christian Yelich from the Brewers, who are having really good years all around, hitting for average, power, on base, and scoring runs, those are a couple guys that probably should deserve to start. But, back then, we're going back to the whole 25% rule thing. So he's kind of a guy that's probably taking up a starting spot for somebody else. So he kind of jumps out at me on that National League list.
Yeah. I'm with you there. Starter, as voted in, yes. All-star, probably, just because of his power numbers and the amount of RBIs he produces for that team. But, again, it comes to the vote. And, even Blackmon's having kind of a down year, too, to be honest. This isn't the typical Charlie Blackmon year. He started off strong at the beginning of the year. He had like 4 home runs in the span of like 5 games. He's kind of went downhill a little bit, but he, got the nod there. Not starting, but he's there. So would he be the starter over Harper? And then you got Matt Kemp in there, who Matt Kemp doesn't even play almost every day. You know, they brought him back to try to see if he could be a left-handed specialist, and he kind of has turned into a godsend, kind of helping out through all the injury woes and everything. He doesn't have nearly as many at-bats of half these players on this All-Star roster, yet he was voted a starter. Why? Because the Dodgers have a huge fan base. And, you know, he is having a good year for the amount of, games played and at-bats that he's had. I will admit it. He doesn't look like old Matt Kemp, but starter Matt Kemp? Do you think that he's worthy of that?
No, definitely not. I mean, even the Lorenzo Cain, it looks better than Matt Kemp.
Agree there. Yep, and one of my
I'm gonna disagree big time. I got Matt Kemp on my fantasy team.
Oh,
and the guy is tearing it up.
When he plays,
tearing it up.
He's playing more and more now, but at the beginning of the year, he was, so and so against left-handers. They bring him in.
No, yeah, but if you look at him all around, I think he has 15 home runs this season, over 50 RBIs. I know he's batting over 300. He's slugging probably close to 550. Like, he is having a really good year. Obviously, yeah, he kind of was, missing a few games early on, but he's the kind of guy that's gonna be in that lineup for the rest of the year. And I think he kind of shows, obviously plays for the Dodgers, he's gonna get more of the fan vote, but kind of shows that he's a guy that's producing and playing well, and it's a good story just because he wasn't really at the beginning of the season. If you told me Matt Kemp was gonna be a big part of this Dodgers lineup, there's no way that I was going to even predict anything like that. And he's come out and played really well. Maybe not up to your guys' standards, but the guy is balling. So my vote's for Kemp.
Yeah. He's on pace to get about 590 at-bats this year, which for a full season that he's played non-injury would be a career low. He's been over 600 for his healthy seasons. Of course, his big season in the Dodgers in 2011, he had almost 700 at-bats. So, but he's really helped them out. In All-Star, yes. Starter, still one of my biggest snubs, who I'll mention later, is an outfielder in the National League who I think should be in. Not in his place, but in the place of, on the roster. So, Nick Markakis, do you think he's a starter too? I mean, or maybe the National League outfield has just been not as impressive as it normally has been this year.
I'm with you 100%. I don't think it's been as impressive as what we're going to get to into the AL. I mean,
yeah, definitely.
I mean, that's just loaded. But I mean, it just feels like the competition's comparatively is just not at par.
Yeah. One guy, when we name the snubs later, I'll bring in that I feel should be not starting, but on there as well. Real quick, though, we have some news. Buster Posey, who was announced as a reserve, is no longer going to play in the All-Star game. He has been replaced by one Yadier Molina, who surprisingly missed most of the first half of the season with a injury. So that's just came in about an hour ago. So, so Yadier Molina has been added to the National League reserves. With that being said, let's go to the offensive reserves here of the National League. I already mentioned Real Muto, who I think should be the starter. I have no problem with Wilson Contreras. I don't know why they're pulling three catchers, though. It's kind of interesting. And then we got Votto, Goldschmidt, Scooter Gennett, well-deserved of Scooter Gennett. Gennett. His first All-Star game, I think that was a great addition. Ozzie Albies, of course. Trevor Story, of course. He's been killing it. Eugenio Suarez, who I've been on, he's been great. I talked about him actually on the Sirius XM last Tuesday night about how I think he's for real. He's going to continue it. Having Nick Senzel, whatever his name is, below him, I think it was lit a fire under him, and he's having a career year, and I like him. Lorenzo Cain, of course, who I should be the starter over Harper. Yelich, who's constant as they come. But surprisingly, I didn't know this. This is Yelich's first All-Star game. I was really surprised by that when I found that out. But then again, he played in Miami, and they were never very good. So he never had the starter vote as you would against or on his side. And then followed by Charlie Blackmon. All right, guys, snubs in the National League reserves for hitting. Who do you got? Who we missing? Who we missing, Anthony?
I think if there's any position that's low in the National League, it's first baseman.
Yes, sir.
They got Votto, Goldschmidt, and obviously Freddie Freeman starting at first base. But Jesus Aguilar is just, I don't know. I did not see this coming, and he is just on a tear. 22 home runs, 3 ribbies this year, batting over 300, an OPS of 1,000.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And just leading in probably in most offensive categories in the NL, and he's up there for the final vote-in position. So a guy like that, even though you probably don't want to carry for first baseman on the All-Star team, when you have an extra catcher and that spot could go somewhere else, he's probably the one where if you're first in every other category and you're not even, being selected on the All-Star team naturally, you have to go in the vote-in, which is not assuring because there's some pretty popular names on there.
Yeah.
You could probably have, the NL home run leader out of the All-Star game at this point.
Well, unless he gets voted in by, remember, the last chance vote.
Mm-hmm.
As ridiculous that is. He is on the last chance vote roster, but then again, he plays for that Milwaukee team. They do have a good fan base, but who has the biggest fan base on that vote? That's really much what that comes down to. I was really surprised, too. I thought with the Posey injury, instead of adding Molina, they would have added him because Posey has that first base eligibility, too. He has played first quite a lot this year. I thought that maybe they would add someone like that, at least to bring in as a pitch hitter. What if you're down, need a home run, need something? I also talked about Aguilar on the SiriusXM show last week, too, as well. And as far as he does deserve to be on the All-Star team because he's had a great half of the season. Do I think it's going to continue for the rest of the season? I do not. I haven't seen enough of him in his AAA or his AA or any of his numbers in the minor leagues to show me that he'll continue it. He may, but I'm not a believer in him in the second half. But as far as where we're at now and why the All-Star games play in the middle of the season, he definitely deserves to be on the team. So I think that was a huge miss on there, and hopefully he gets voted in, and if not, then that's just not just terrible. Josh, do you have any snubs there?
Actually, I got one that's on that final vote roster, which is, kind of look at Trey Turner, and I think he's going to be the one that's going to be voted in because of where it's at.
Yeah.
But the other one, and I know you guys are going to disagree probably with me on this one, but I think it's because of he's the only one that makes them look decent is Brinson from the Marlins. It's the only reason why they actually won half their games is because of him. I mean, maybe he should be on that just as an outfielder. I mean, if you're going to add another outfielder to that short list.
Yeah, Brinson's been up and down this year, also getting on that Marlins team. So not a lot of love there. He actually got benched for a while, but then came back hot. So, yeah, there's a case for that too. But I think one outfielder that we are missing is my snub, which is Odubel Herrera for the Philadelphia Phillies. He's been having such a great year in that 3-hole. He has the protection now of the Carlos Santana and Maikel Franco when he wants to. And I just feel that of all the outfielders, I mean, he's always hit for average. He's always been 280 or above his entire career. He has 15 home runs, 44 RBIs. He has some stolen bases to go with that. And he's kind of been of a catalyst there. He has 44 runs, and that Phillies team has been somewhat surprising. I think he's been a main reason for it. And definitely feel that he deserves an all-star nod there. I know Aaron Nola got it. I mean, that's an obvious one. We'll talk about pitching in a second. But, I mean, if you're going to bring in another outfielder that can, be a game changer, I think Odubel Herrera would have been your guy there. So I think he was my biggest snub there on the National League side as well. So now we go to pitchers. In the National League, of course, you got your big guns. Max Scherzer is starting the game, correct, Anthony?
I think right now
or is it DeGrom?
It's usually up to the coach, but I think it's probably going to be between. And then also another thing you have to take into account too is, whoever's pitching that last week and going into the All-Star game. So depending on how those rotations line up, you might have one or two guys who.
Well, it's going to be Scherzer or DeGrom, guaranteed. One of those two guys will probably be the starting pitchers there.
Yeah, if it's me, I'm going Scherzer just because he's just been probably the most consistent force the last 2.5 years. So I'll probably give it to him.
That's it. And then you got John Lester, well-deserved. Aaron Nola, well-deserved. Patrick Corbin started off really strong. Hasn't been so hot lately, but, well-deserved there. Mike Fulanowicz, whatever his name is, got it for Atlanta. I'm not quite sure about that one. He's had a good year, but I don't know about All-Star worthy. Mike Mikulas still had a good year. Don't know about All-Star worthy, but I think he was the lone St. Louis player to make the All-Star until Yadier just came on, a little while ago. So that's something to look at. Josh Hader, who's been terrific filling in the closer role there in Milwaukee. Kenley Jansen somehow snuck on. He's first half of the year not so good. Second half of the first half really good. Sean Doolittle has been surprisingly good. Then you got your throw-ins because you have to pick somebody from that team as Brad Hand and Philip Vasquez, who somehow also changed his name halfway through the season. I believe he was Felipe Lopez before, and now he's somehow changed his name to Vasquez halfway through the season. Rounds out your pitching staff there. Are there any pitchers that you guys feel shouldn't be on this list? Obviously there are because of the have to have every team have a player, or players that you feel should be on this list. National League.
There's three I could already tell you offhand. Michael Fulnowitz, like you were saying. I don't think he deserves us to be on there. The Felipe Vasquez, throw in, and Miles Mikolas. I don't know if he.
We're just butchering these names right now.
We
it's
are
horrible.
Mikolas.
Apologize to all the NL All Stars. But we are struggling right now.
Yes, we are.
But I don't believe that any of those three deserve to be on there. You got a lot of quality pitchers that are out there that are getting overlooked left and right, I believe, as well. Obviously, if you wanted to say it was a fan voting or something like that, they would probably put Kershaw on.
I'm surprised he wasn't voted on, to be honest.
Yeah. But you could make a lot of cases around all the way around. You could give another vote to anybody on another person on the Phillies if you want, or because of them being in first place right now, or just kind of spread it around a little bit for some of these surprise teams.
Yeah, with you there, Anthony. Do you have any maybe snubs pitchers wise for this roster? Did we lose him?
Did you cut me off already?
He's now gone. Here we go.
Did you cut me off already?
Yeah, I did. You were done, man. I cut you off.
Come on, man.
No,
this is becoming a recurring habit, and I don't appreciate it.
I know we're past the half an hour mark, so I got my 30 minutes of your voice, and that was it. So I guess you're.
You know what? I'm just used to it at this point, and it is what it is. But yeah, if you're looking at some guys like, big surprise, Jake Arrieta's pitching really well for the Phillies this year.
He was a National League leader in ERA for the first quarter of the season.
Yeah, he's kind of cooled down a bit, but still, when you look at that Phillies team and how well they're playing, Nola's getting a lot of notoriety, which he deservedly so. But Jake Arrieta, for a guy who, the Cubs pretty much said they didn't want, was thinking, he doesn't have much left in the tank. He's been really well, pitching well for the Phillies. So he's probably a guy, I think, Mikolas has probably more wins than Arrieta, but I think
9 and 3.
At his overall play, probably has better stuff right now. So
Mikolas hasn't been bad. He has a 2.6 ERA. His K per 9 is terrible, and everything in his parentals show that he's going to have a bad second half. At a ground ball rate over 50%. Balls and his BABIP is super low. So he does. I guess you can say he deserves it, but there's other pitchers as well that should probably be on there. One of mine, my biggest one here is for the Dodgers, is Ross Stripling. I don't know why he is completely not even involved in this situation. He's 7-2. He has a K per 9 of over 10. His ERA sits at 2.2. Yeah. And he's not even on the roster. I don't understand how that happened. Well, I do know, because you have to have a player play from every team, right? Or else Ross Stripling would be on that reserve team. I don't know how he didn't make it. I still don't know how Zach Greinke isn't even involved in this situation as well. He still has his 3.3 ERA. He's sitting at 9-5, but that team's in leading the division, and he's the catalyst of that pitching staff. So I kind of feel like he got, maybe even a last chance vote or something. I know pitchers aren't even voted in though, but they should be. If we're going to vote the hitters, why can't we vote the pitchers in? I don't understand. I don't understand this system. So there's another one I feel maybe got a little screwed there. And relievers come and they go. I mean, as many as they have, I think they're good there as well. So there you go. There's your National League. Who is the last chance voters here for the National League? Do you have that list, Anthony? Do you want me to pull it up?
I
know. So right now we have Jesus Aguilar, which Mike kind of snubbed, so he has a chance in there. Brandon Belt, who's having a pretty good year for the Giants. I don't think, when you're thinking about first baseman, you're thinking of, I guess, more power numbers. But he's
no Odubel Herrera, but you got Brandon Belt on that list. Great.
Exactly. And here's another homer pick, but you have a guy who I think he's been tearing it up for the Dodgers lately, but Max Muncy is on
I like that. You know what? He'll probably get it, to be honest, because of the fan base.
Well, I think he probably would, but I think kind of like what Josh was saying with Trey Turner there, he'll probably get that fan vote from the Natties there. And then you got Matt Carpenter, who
coming on lately.
I thought he would. Oh yeah, he has big time, and so he's in that vote there. So you got a lot of big name guys, which I think is probably spells doom for Jesus Aguilar with the Brewers. So
it does.
It's rough. I get it. It's almost like a March Madness. They wanted to add more excitement, so they add these 4 teams.
Brandon Belt,
but those 4 teams are from these small conferences. So it's like you want to add more to get more people involved, but you almost kind of pick who you want there at that position. So it is what it is. I guess you can't make it perfect, but when you start looking at some of these guys, it's like, man.
Brandon Belt over Odubel Herrera. My goodness.
You're going to get these Giants fans upset.
I don't care. They already hate me anyways. Oh, man. Well, there's your National League All-Star roster and snubs and picks. Real quick, before we go to the American League, let's get mid-season. Cy Young's Rookie of the Year. What's the other one? MVP. And let's see where we stand going from there. Anthony, who do you got as your Cy Young Award winner right now? And if you feel they're going to make it to the end of the season, or if there's somebody different.
Yeah, I'm going to just ride probably the most sure thing in that race. So now, at this point, Matt Scherzer, and at the end of the year, Matt Scherzer again. The guys won the last 2 Cy Youngs. He's leading the league in ERA. He's first in wins. Leads the league in strikeouts. Just you name it, he's there. So there's no reason to believe that he won't be there at the end. So he's my pick for the Cy Young.
Okay. And Josh, do you agree, or do you have someone else now as the top pitcher and perhaps new pitcher at the end of the year to win that Cy Young Award in the National League?
National League, I gotta agree with them. I mean, Scherzer's just too dominant.
All right. I actually have Jacob deGrom right now as being the if the season were to stop today, what he's accomplished so far has been phenomenal this year in a team that the injury bug is the craziest injury bug. I don't know what is in the water just on that side of New York, but it is bizarre. Everyone seems to get hurt. All the pitchers seem to get hurt. But right now, I mean, his ERA is at 1.79. His wins and losses don't show for it, obviously, because he plays for the Mets. But his K through 9 is 11. And he's just been really solid. And I feel if the season were to end right now, there's a chance he could win it. He could win it. But I agree with you guys. At the end of the year, I think it's Scherzer's to lose. Rookie of the Year in the National League so far, and who you feel could win it by the end of the year.
Even at this point, there's not a lot of big-name guys there, but someone that I kind of like carry on, especially for that Nationals team, who's had some injuries there. Juan Soto played the last 44 games, has 8 home runs, 26 RBIs, batting over 300. Thing that I love about him is the on-base percentage is .419, has 30 walks in 44 games, which is outstanding in a day and age where people are striking out 150 and 200 times a year. So Soto's really playing really well, especially for a lot of these big-name rookies this year. he's kind of come out of there and been the shining star in the NL. So he's my pick for now and at the end of the year.
Wow, going to double-double. Josh, you agree, disagree, have someone else? What do you got?
I disagree. I got a guy named Ronald Acuna.
Nice.
Ooh.
I like that.
He's just been really dominant. I mean, he just came in and stepped in just like he wasn't even close to a rookie and really performed. And I think it's gonna, for me, actually, it's either gonna be him or Flaherty that probably ends up with it in the National League.
Like that. Right now, if the season were to end right now, I would have to say Walker Buehler for the Dodgers would probably get it at this point. He's been pitching great. 3.44 ERA. His home run per 9 ratio is really low. It's at 0.5, which is just outstanding. He doesn't walk a lot and has over a 9 K per 9, and he's 4-2, and he's been a great pitcher when they needed him during the beginning of the season, especially with Clayton Kershaw injured. But I have to agree with Josh. I think by the time the year is all said and done, Acuna has a huge second half and takes over that role there as well for the Rookie of the Year. We got to move a lot quicker, guys. So we're going to go right into, MVPs real quick for the National League. Let's just go. Who do you have, Anthony?
I got Nolan
Arenado. Still butchering names.
There you go.
Holy cow. I know. I butchered the easiest one tonight. Nolan's my pick. He hasn't won an MVP yet in his career, but the guy's going to win his 6th straight Gold Glove. He's just banging it out of the yard this year. 22 home runs, 3 RBIs, batting over 300. So Nolan is just a guy who, if he was on a better team, he'd get more notoriety, but I think he's finally deserves that notoriety this year.
Josh, who do you got?
I'm just going to make it really easy. I got Freddie Freeman. I don't need to go in the stats.
I like that one too. All right. That's a good one. Mine is Javier Baez. Yes, that's right. Javier Baez. Look at what the Cubs have done this year. They're in the race. They're already in the wild card. They're just out of the Milwaukee Brewers. Almost one of the best records in baseball without some of their stars performing, as in Chris Bryant, who's been hurt, injury bug. Anthony Rizzo's career low in a lot of categories this year. The catalyst, the leader of that team, has been Javier Baez. 17 home runs, 56 runs, 65 RBIs, 16 stolen bases, batting .295, and absolutely on fire. He's the guy we all thought he was going to be. He's here now, and he is my pick for the MVP, just because of everything he has to do to keep that Cubs team and offense afloat, with a little bit of help from Schwarber as well, stepping up this year. But Javier Baez is my pick there. Let's go into the AL All-Star rosters. We'll try to spend as much time as we did on the NL, and maybe go a little late, and we'll probably have to save Fantasy Sports Jeopardy for next Monday. We'll see. Or we'll just go 2 hours. Screw it. Let's go into the American League roster, the starters. Everyone knows how I feel about Mr. Wilson Ramos. Jose Abreu at the first base spot. Jose Altuve, well-deserved there. Manny Machado, the only bright spot on that dark Orioles team. Jose Ramirez, who's just playing out of his gourd. Mookie Betts, he's who we think he is. Mike Trout, who say no more. Aaron Judge, say no more. JD Martinez, say no more. If it's up to me and you put these two starting rosters next to each other, I'd say the AL wins 10-2. That's how I feel. Do you guys agree with these starters here in this fan vote?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. I think, I think just the AL has more talent, so it's easier to get the right guys in there. But, yeah, you put these guys next to each other with the NL, I don't even see them scoring 2 runs. I'm going to get 10-0.
Unfortunately, we haven't gone to the reserves yet, and I do feel the American League reserves are pretty weak. So the starters are really good, the reserves not so much. But we'll get into that later. So, yeah, I agree with you. The talent on the AL is really strong, especially in the outfield position. I mean, Trout, Judge, Martinez, Betts. Oh, give me that any day. That's like Murderer's Row 2018 right there.
It really is.
Who wants to pitch to that? Nobody.
I would.
Max Scherzer, yeah. So I think we're all agree that the starters take away Wilson Ramos. I do believe that Salvador Perez should have got that starting nod there over Ramos, making it his, 4th straight starting as far as a catcher. But, Ramos somehow got the votes. And really screwed Blake Snell out of a spot.
That's one of my snubs.
I know, it's all of ours. And We'll talk about that for a second. Let's get to the reserves real quick. Salvador Perez, as I mentioned, a surprising Mitch Moreland, and somehow Gleyber Torres made it there as well. Francisco Lindor, solid. Alex Bregman, well deserved of his first All-Star nod there, I feel. Michael Brantley, welcome back, Michael Brantley. George Springer, solid as a rock. Mitch Haniger, welcome to your first All-Star game somehow. Shin-Sho Choo.
First as well.
I know, but surprisingly, well-deserved. He's had a great year. So welcome, Shin-Sho Choo and Nelson Cruz, because he just outdid Encarnacion for that DH spot in the American League All-Star game. Is pretty much one of those two each year. And then, so what are the snubs here hitting-wise? You guys have any? You guys feel it's pretty solid, or are we missing somebody?
Oh, we're missing someone, and it hurts my heart dearly because it's my own team, the Oakland A's, the Ron stepchild of the Giants,
Double dog
Bay Area. But Jed Lowry, he's leading off second baseman in home runs, RBI, slugging percentage, second in walks, in OPS. He's third in average. He's having a career year. He's never made the All-Star team, and he's leading this team into, surprisingly, they're only 7 games back from first, but they're only like 5.5 from the first wild card spot with a team who no one even considered as a playoff contender this year. And Lowry is one of the big reasons why they're there. And not only is he not going, but he's not even in the final vote in. It's a travesty. I want to recount, and this is not right.
But Gleyber Torres has made it.
Baloney.
Just baloney. I'm with you there. I believe Jed Lowry deserves that spot over Gleyber Torres for sure. Josh, you got any snubs there?
I mean, if you, I mean, I'm 100% with him with Jed Lowry. Another person who's actually had a really good year too as a shortstop is Simba and Andrelton Simmons.
Yeah, he's been really great this year. Solid defender too, man. Yeah, man. I'm looking at this AL bench and I'm going, where's Gene Segura? Why isn't he there? Like, who?
He's on the final vote.
I know, but he should be on there over Mitch Haniger.
I'm with you.
Why isn't Evan Gattis on here? He leads the Astros in RBIs. Where is he? As DH. Yeah, it's Mitch Moreland. Yeah, Mitch. I don't know why Mitch Moreland's on there. I know he's had a good year.
Rosario.
Eddie Rosario. Exactly.
Not enough love.
No,
that young guy
not at all.
There, Minnesota.
No, who was the Minnesota? Probably a pitcher. Those relief pitchers. Those are all the teams that. Oh, we need to throw someone on there because every team has to have one. Oh, let's just put their closer on there.
Well, no, they got Barrios.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
He's deserving of it though.
Yeah,
he deserves to be on the team.
Deserves it, but you got a guy like Eddie Rosario has more hits, home runs, steals, and on base percentage than Brantley, Haniger, and Springer, who are the reserves. He has a cannon from arm, plays solid defense, and he's in the final vote-in, but he's not going to make it against Stan or Benintelli, so it's not even fair. He's just in there for good measure.
And another outfielder too, I was going to say as well, is Nicholas Castellanos.
Yeah, I was going to mention him as well. Castellanos is having a great year, especially with the injury to Miggy. He's been stepping up. Yeah, I would definitely have him on there over some of these guys as well. Man, crazy. Like I said, the starters for the AL are solid, but the bench, I don't feel. I mean, Mitch Haniger, yeah, great year, but Castellanos should be over him.
Yeah.
I guess Gleyber Torres is the biggest, huh? Who?
Well, it's because you said fan base. There you go.
Well, he wasn't voted in, because I think the reserves are picked by the coach, right? Which would be A.J. Hinch of the Houston Astros. Which boggles my mind even more. Why didn't he choose Gattis?
Yeah.
60-something RBIs this year for your club, and you're not going to put him on your own All-Star team. Come on.
But then they would have 3 catchers just like the National League.
All right. Yeah. No, they don't. They only have the 2, which is smart.
Well, I'm saying they would have the 3rd, though.
They only have 2 first basemen, though. Jose Abreu and Mitch Moreland. So that's good stuff. I need to look up first baseman in the American League. Like, how bad is first baseman in the American League where Mitch Moreland and Jose Abreu are the only 2 that you have Let's look that up real quick. I'm interested to know who got snubbed here on the first baseman side in the American League. Let's see. Okay, American League first baseman. Okay, let's see who got snubbed. Oh, boy. This is going to hurt. And I agree with this, actually, now that I see it. I'm surprised. I haven't gotten to the fan vote yet. He may be on there, but Matt Olson.
Yeah.
Matt Olson.
How do you feel
No,
about
he's
that?
batting 240, but 19, 45 RBIs. I mean, that's better than, Mitch Moreland.
No love ever. No love.
Yeah, he you know what?
At all.
Jose Abreu has 12 home runs and 42 RBIs. Matt Olson has 19 home runs and 48 RBIs.
And if you look at their averages, they're not that far apart.
259 and
Abreu's probably
240.
even higher.
Yeah, and actually Matt Olson has a higher slugging percentage, a higher on-base percentage. Everything says Matt Olson should be starting the game at first base for the American League. That is absolutely crazy. The fan vote is stupid. Stupid.
You know, I'm going to go on a rant right now about the A's. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going on a rant right now.
We could go all night without.
Matt Olson,
peeled
Matt
right
Olson,
now.
Matt Olson, you got robbed, my friend. Robbed. All right, here we go. We're going to pitchers real quick. Verlander, Kluber, Sale, your big three. Severino, well-deserved. Garrett Cole, well-deserved. Barrios, well-deserved. J.A. Happ, somebody from Toronto had to make it. Trevor Bauer, good job, well-deserved. Edwin Diaz, well-deserved. Some guy named Joe Jimenez for the Detroit over Nick Castellanos. Again, there's that player that we got to pick someone, make it a reliever. Craig Kimbrell, well-deserved. Chapman, well-deserved. And Blake Trinan was that reliever that they pulled from Oakland, even though they have two other guys that are more worthy.
We should have had all of them, actually.
Yeah, big news, too. Justin Verlander looks like he won't even play in this game, leaving a pitching spot open. Gee, I wonder who that spot's going to go to. Do you guys have any snubs that are pitchers that you feel that could get that spot there?
No, not at all.
You mean the leader in ERA in the AL?
I smell something brewing.
So too. Dad joke of the night.
That was it as well. Of course, what everyone's been talking about, the Snell snub. Snell snub gate of 2018. Blake Snell. Obviously, he's on all of our list. He's AL best ERA. K per 9 is 10. He's going to end up there, guys. Verlander's not going to make it. He's going to get the call. Is he on the last vote, Anthony?
No, he is not.
He is
That's
not on the
funny
last
thing.
vote
He
either.
is not even on the
Oh, well, he's going to make it. He will be there. He'll probably take Verlander's spot. We'll see him pitching in the Summer Classic, as you would. What a great year he's had. Kudos to him. He's a highly touted prospect coming up. Had a little rough patch in his rookie season. Has come along well this year and overtaken Archer. I think is that number one. Archer's kind of been let's not put poop on the grass here. He's been terrible. He's been crappy. He's had a horrible year, and I think Blake Snell is well deserved, and he will get in and he will take that Verlander's spot as well. Who were the last five there for the vote, Anthony, in the AL?
And this is going to be the tough part because you got some big names. So Eddie Rosario's in there, who I think is well deserved, should have made a team to begin with. But then you have one of the Boston Red Sox guys, Andy Benintendi's in there. I think your guy from the Angels, Simmons, shortstop, is in the mix. Gene Segura, who you mentioned earlier, and some guy named Mike Stanton of some sort.
Yeah, and here's what sucks. Stanton's going to get in. He doesn't deserve to be in, but he's going to win that vote because the Yankees fans. Simple. That's why this stupid last vote thing's dumb. He's going to win the vote. Do you guys, how much money would you put on that Stanton would win this vote, just knowing what you know about fan bases and everything?
It's a good probability that he's going to make it in.
Yeah, it's dumb. So now people that know that aren't even going to vote. I'm not even going to vote. I don't think he deserves to be in, honestly. And why isn't Gaddis on this list? Where's Gaddis? 60-plus RBIs right now. Leading that Houston team, where four other guys are on the team. Ugh. It should just say, okay, whoever has the best stats at your position get to play in this period. No voting. Don't want fans vote. Then don't call it an all-star game, like I said before. Just call it what it is. Fan Appreciation Week. All right, real quick, your Cy Young for the American League currently, and if you think they'll last it to the end of the year, who do you guys got?
I'm a big strikeout guy, kind of like what I was with Scherzer, so I'm going to go with Chris Sale now and later. He's finished in the top 6 in the Cy Young the last 6 years. He's never got to that point. I think now he does. So first in strikeouts, leads the league in batting average against. He's 4th in ERA. The Red Sox are probably going to win that division, so he'll elevate him to that level. So I'm more the prediction there, and I think he'll win it this year finally in his career.
Cool, Josh. You got something different? Probably not.
I gotta agree with him because I also think that Sale wants a little bit more after losing it last year so close to Kluber. He's just gonna really want it. Is hungry for it.
All right. I have right now, if the season were to stop, I'd say Trevor Bauer would be the favorite to win the AL Cy Young Award winner as it stands now, just based on what he's done. 2.45 ERA. Anthony, you're going to owe me something because he is not going over 4 this year. Just pulling it out there. K per 9 over 11. He is 8-6, but man, he's just been absolutely tremendous. I don't think it lasts though. I still don't think he goes over 4 ERA though. My guy actually predicted that I think he's going to win the Cy Young is Severino, Luis Severino from the Yankees. He's already at 14-2 compared to Sale's 9-4. His ERA is 2.12 compared to Sale's 2.36. He's about 1 strikeout per 9 less. And I just think, he's a Yankee. And I just think at the end of the year, if he continues to go at this pace that he's going on, especially with all the peripherals and everything the way it is, I think he outdoes Sale and wins his first ever Cy Young Award there in the AL. I like Severino finishing the year strong. So here we go to our Rookies of the Year in the American League.
I think we've been giving him a lot of flack this whole episode because of him taking Jed Lowry's spot, but I'll probably give it to Torres in the AL. Overall, his numbers are pretty good. He hasn't played this whole season, obviously. I think only 63 games, but 15 homers, 42 RBIs. He's batting .292, which is pretty good. He's on the DL, so he's probably going to be out for until the All-Star break, maybe after that. So
that's why I think Lowry will make it, sir.
It's just still it's a sour taste. You're getting in because of an injury, which if you ask Lowry down the road if it matters to him or not, he probably will say no. But it's a bad taste to your mouth, and we'll see. But right now for Rookie of the Year, it seems like it's a really off year for rookies in both leagues, and it's probably going to be somebody who just gets 400 at bats, and Torres is probably going to be up there. He's playing well, but not going to play it a lot this season.
Yeah, Josh, do you agree with that Gleyber Torres pick for Rookie of the Year in the AL?
Nah, actually, I got to go with Willie Calhoun for the Rangers. He did pretty well in the minor leagues, and now he's he was given from the Dodgers to the to the Rangers, and he already hit a home run in the first 13 games that he was there. He just keeps improving.
You like that, Willie Calhoun? I'm going to go with one that is going to not surprise you at all coming from my mouth, and that is Mr. Shohei Ohtani. That's right. I know he's not going to pitch the rest of the year, but I feel he's already done enough pitching to prove how valuable he is, and he's going to continue to hit the rest of the year. And he came back. He hit a home run the other night. I think overall at the end of the year, I think he wins Rookie of the Year just based on what he's already done pitching and him hitting the rest of the year going forward. I like Ohtani to win that Rookie of the Year spot there in the American League. Okay, the moment we've all been waiting for, the MVPs of the American League. There's a lot to choose from, and I'm pretty sure we're all on the same page. So, Josh, we'll go with you first since you're a Boston Red Sox fan.
Mookie Betts.
Yeah. Do you have him now, though? If the season were to stop right now, would Mookie Betts be your MVP?
Absolutely. His on-base percentage with his batting average, home runs, stolen bases. He's just killing it out there.
Yeah, he's there for sure. He's not my half-season MVP. I'll explain who that is and why he's on the same team in a shortly. Anthony, do you have Mookie Betts or someone else as your MVP, and who would you have right now?
I think I'm about to steal your thunder, and I'm going to go with JD Martinez
Boom!
right
You
now.
stole it. You stole it. You stole my hammer, Thor.
I looked at your notes. I'm like, you know what? This guy knows what he's talking about. I'm gonna take it. No, JD Martinez. I think the big thing, Mookie Betts having a phenomenal year, stealing bases, hitting for power, doing what he does, just improving as a player. But for JD Martinez to come in, sign that big contract, the pressure was on him to be that big bat in this lineup, and he's not only met those expectations, but he's exceeded them. Has over 100 hits this season, 64 runs, 27 home runs, 74 RBIs.
28. Yeah, 28 today.
Oh, now okay. Well, live stats, guys. Live stats from Josh Daniel.
Live Red Sox stats from yours truly. So 28 home runs, and then obviously 75 RBIs. He's batting over 330.
Yeah.
And his on base
regression
OPS,
there. I mean, regression there. His BABIP is really high. I don't think he's going to continue to do that, but yeah, I like that.
If I was voting right now, it'd be JD Martinez at the end of the season. I'm going to have to give it to whoever wins that division. Right now, I think the Red Sox will probably win it, so I'll probably give it to Betts because you're going to have a guy who's probably going to steal maybe 30 bases, hit over 30 home runs, a 30 guy. And longevity-wise, he'll continue to do what he's doing.
Yeah, Betts is already at 22 home runs, guys.
Yeah.
That's crazy. 16 stolen bases, 22 home runs, 71 runs, and 44 RBIs already. Batting .342. That is unheard of. Unheard of. Halfway through the season, playing the amount of games he's played. Man, that's Javier Baez numbers right there. I'm kidding. That's a joke. You guys can laugh. I have JD Martinez right now as the midseason MVP. I'm going a little different. I'm going to say sophomore slump. Who? Aaron Judge. No thank you, sophomore slump. As my pick to MVP. Remember, we still have a half a season to play. And I think a lot of criticism on Aaron Judge of how he started the season last year and did not finish as strongly. I think that's in his head. And I think he goes out this second half and he absolutely destroys the baseball. It's going to get warmer in New York in that stadium. He's already at 25 home runs. He already has 58 RBIs. He has 6 stolen bases, Aaron Judge. I think by the end of the year, he could, if he can stay in that 280, 290 batting average realm, kind of try to lower his K percentage a little bit. It's at 31%. That's not good. That's no bueno. But I just think that, if the Yankees were to win that division, guys, I'm with you too. I think whoever wins that division, Cy Young and MVP goes to that person. So if the Yankees win, the Cy Young goes to Severino and Judge. If the Red Sox wins, it goes to Betts and Sale. That's the way baseball is. So there you go. There's my picks. They're a little bit different than the guys, but I always try to put some different numbers up and always try to wish for the best. And plus, we all know how much I love Aaron Judge. So with that being said, at the midseason right now, we made predictions earlier in the year. Most of mine actually still stand up, surprisingly or not. My Angels have fell off a little bit. By a little bit, I mean a lot. And don't really have a chance anymore. Other than that, I've really held up, and all the teams that I picked to be in a wild card or win the division are there, with the exception of the Phillies, who somehow just defy expectations, yet only have one player represented in the All-Star game named Aaron Nola, and Odubel Herrera is just watching going, what the? Yeah. So, guys, real quick, winning, we'll go to the AL East last, because I know that's what everyone wants to know. NL East, right now the Phillies and the Braves are tied for first place, with the Nationals 5.5 games behind. Do you guys have the Phillies or the Braves winning this division by the end of the year?
I'm going to go with the third team. I'm going to go with the Nationals. Once Strawberry come back, that's going to definitely help that pitching staff. Rendon, Harper's going to start heating up again. So I'm going to go with the odd ball out. I'm going to go with the Nationals. The talent will rise, and the Braves and the Phillies are going to fall off, because right now they're playing beyond their talent right now, and I don't know if they can keep that up for the second half of the season.
Josh, what do you got?
I'm actually right there with Anthony, because if history repeats itself, both those teams always fall in the second half. And I forgot to mention this. Anthony Rendon also has that snub as well, because he has actually had a pretty good offense.
It's true. NL Central, the Brewers and the Cubs. I think both of us, everyone pretty much predicted those would be the two teams out of there. Do you think the Brewers win or the Cubs win?
I'm gonna have the Cubs in there. I know the Brewers are playing really well. I don't know how they keep it going, but it always seems like every year in the American and the National League, there's always that one team that kind of just hangs around, and next thing you know, they make some magic in the playoffs. I think the Brewers make it in as far as the playing game, so watch out for them as far as a wild card team. But I think the Cubs end up winning that division.
Josh, you agree or disagree?
Agreed.
Cool. I actually have the Brewers winning that division. I picked the Cubs, but I also picked the Brewers to make the wild card, and so I'm just swapping those two there. In the NL East, though, I did remember I was the one who predicted the Braves to make the playoffs, guys. I did.
Where's this list? Where's this list you keep
episode 2 of Friday Night Rants. You can hear me saying that I think the Braves will make the playoffs. Yes, it happened, and I got video evidence of it as well. I think they win the division, and I think the Phillies falter with the Nationals getting a wild card spot as well. We'll talk about that in a second. All right, guys, we got to talk about the NL West. The NL West, the Diamondbacks are up by 1 game over the Dodgers right now, and the Dodgers just trampled my Padres, who are now looking to trade everyone away. Who wins the division? Keep in mind, everyone's within 3.5 games of each other, minus the Padres.
I think right now you have to go to the Dodgers. The talent's going to come up. No big surprise
You
there.
can't wait for the Spirit Halloween store to open fast enough.
You know what? Maybe it's more of a prediction of who I think, but I hope they win. Because I have to see that whole ensemble. So I think the Dodgers are going to get there once they get Clayton Kershaw back in the mix. And as long as they don't have any big injuries down the road. The Diamondbacks, I don't know what it is, but it just seems like they always play well. The Rockies play well, and then it's like, hey, wait a minute, we're not supposed to be here, and they just start to play bad, and the Dodgers overtake it.
Yeah. Well, boo you. Josh, what do you got?
I have a feeling you're going to boo me as well, because I actually do have the Dodgers winning that division as well. Just the pitching is just too talented. But I do think that the Diamondbacks make it as the wild card. And I do believe that Kershaw is back. He did throw 6 innings, had the quality start, and had 5 strikeouts.
All right, guys, I'm still going with the Diamondbacks. for obvious reasons.
Yes, you have to.
I'm sticking with my guns. I'm going with the Diamondbacks there. All right, National League. So with that being said, I think we're all on the same page. Like maybe a little mixed match wild card, but I have the Braves, the Brewers, the Diamondbacks, with the wild card teams being the Cubs and the Nationals. And ultimately, guys, I'm going to be real here. I have the, wait for it. Still waiting. Nationals somehow making the World Series, as I predicted preseason. So there you go. What do you guys got going in the World Series?
You know what? I'm going to have to agree with the Nationals. Got a lot of good pitching, a lot of hitters. Obviously, Bryce Harper's not going to continue this. Even though his power numbers are there, he'll start to hit better. Rendon's going to play better. Even though he had a slow start to the season, but he's kind of bringing it on here. So the Nationals, they just have too much talent there. They're going to start to kind of stick away and win that division and make it to the World Series this year.
Yeah, join the bandwagon. Josh, who do you get?
Just predicting National League right now, right?
Yeah, who's gonna represent the National League in the World Series?
Make it a trio. There
you go. Wow, there you go. Everyone, join the bandwagon there. The threesome.
Hey, great.
The Nationals threesome, baby. Yeah. All right, going to the American League here. We'll talk about the AL East. Just kidding. We're going to talk about that last. We're going to talk about the AL West right now. The Astros somehow had a slow start to the season after the Angels had the hard start. Now the Angels are 14 games back there at 46 and 45. The Athletics making a run here at 41 and 49 games behind, though. Both the Mariners and the Astros is pretty much theirs to lose at this point. You guys all have the Astros winning, correct? Yeah,
without a doubt.
Agreed.
That pitching staff is phenomenal, and that's without who are they missing? And that's with Verlander being dinged up. You imagine when he comes back.
Yeah, nasty.
They got the best team ERA in the AL.
And Giles is starting to figure it out, guys, in the back end. Giles is starting to figure it out too, so that's nasty.
Oh yeah.
All right, we're gonna
So
skip
they got
through.
talent galore.
We're gonna skip through the AL Central because I think all of us are on the Indians train there. That division's pretty much over.
White Sox? No.
Yeah, no. So we're gonna go to the AL East here. I have the Yankees pulling it off. I do. I just think with it warming up at Yankee Stadium and everything behind them, and last year, I think they pull it off. But it's going to be one of those like by a half game. Well, no, it can't be by half game, but like a 1-game lead. It's going to be close. It can go either way. Okay, one of them's going to win the division. One of them's going to make the wild card and have that home field advantage of the wild card. So I have the Yankees edging out the Red Sox by 1 game at the end of the year. Do you guys? Obviously, you guys both disagree, and you have the Red Sox because you've already mentioned that in the show. So, there you go. So, moving on then, wild card teams. I have the Mariners going as that second wild card and losing to the Red Sox. You guys agree with all that with the AL East and the second wild card team, or what?
You know, I'm gonna have to be the homer here, and I'm gonna say there's some late season magic. The Oakland A's make that 5th place, that last wild card.
Cool story, bro.
Hey, they're playing really well right now. Come on, hey, they're playing really well right now. They just took a series against the Indians. They're playing well. If right now they're going to be buyers, and if they can bring in some starting pitching with that lineup, which we've already talked about, has about 10 snubs on that offense.
Yeah.
They're
Two,
going
but
to
okay.
make some magic, and I can just see something happen there. Obviously, if they have to put up against one of the ALS teams in the wild card game, the Yankees or the Red Sox, I'm predicting the Yankees probably won't work out well. But hey, you got to believe. You got to believe.
You got to believe. Josh, you with me on the Red Sox and the Mariners getting that second?
Well, I'm not with you on the Red Sox, but I'm with you on the Mariners. Yankees and Mariners.
Okay, all right. So you have the Yankees losing to the Red Sox and boom. So we're on the same page. Okay, who wins the AL, guys? Who's going to represent? Who's going to play the Nationals in the World Series this year, guys?
My pick has to be the Astros. They're defending World Series champions. They got starting pitching galore. They have hitters throughout that lineup. Everybody's playing really well. Like you said, that back end, that bullpen's a little shaky, but everything else that they have is just phenomenal. And unless they have, I don't know, Altuve or somebody get hurt and drastically change that lineup, there's no reason to believe they're not going to be in the World Series again.
Josh?
Actually, I got the Indians.
Whoa! Wow! All right, the Indians. I like that. Just coming out of the Central, kind of cruising through the second half of the season, and then making it all the way to the World Series.
Yeah.
All right, you guys ready to get your mind blowing?
Always.
All right. My American League champion, and to represent and to lose to the Diamondbacks. I'm sorry, I saw the Diamondbacks on my line. The Nationals in the World Series are the wild card Red Sox. Boom. That's right. I actually don't have the Red Sox winning the division, but I think they'll pull through as a wild card team and make the World Series against the Nationals just to lose in 7 games in an epic series. So there you go. There you go. That's very similar to my predictions. I like the Astros, and they are the favorites to go back, but it's really hard to do, and it hasn't been done in a while. Not even the Giants can pull it off. They had to get last. They had to win a World Series, get last, pull themselves out of the cellar, win a World Series, get last again, and pull themselves up to win a World Series. So the chances of the Astros doing it again, it hasn't been done in a while. It's tough. Baseball's a really tough game, especially in October. And the Red Sox, I just think with their pitching, David Price starts to figure it out. Their bullpen is really good. Their offense can match up with the Astros. I think in a AL championship game of the Red Sox versus the Astros, the Red Sox can pull it off in 7, and go and lose to the Nationals, who I have as my World Series champions still. Because I'm not going to go on that one yet because they're not out of it quite yet. They are at 45 and 45. That's a little concerning that all 3 of us chose them, to be honest. But, hey, that's why we watch, right?
You play to win the game.
I know. And we are at an hour and 20 minutes. I haven't done a single live read, and we still have Fantasy Sports Jeopardy to play, but guess what? We're going to play it next week.
We have to.
We have to, and here's why. Because it's an all-star edition. And on Monday night, there's nothing going on. No baseball. We'll have Summer League, which is everyone's favorite thing to watch.
You mean the rookies?
Might as well go back and watch reruns of the NCAA tournament. Be more exciting.
The deserving league.
Yeah. So, real quick, I want to just mention. Well, let's just do it. Let's do it real quick, guys. Bear with me, real quick. Gotta do it. Yeah, you like fantasy sports.
I love fantasy.
I know, I love fantasy sports. And right now, it is the time of the season. No, I'm not talking about Christmas. It's draft time. And Fantasy Alarm has the #1 draft guide in the industry with the boldest predictions. I'm going to be a part of them. You'll get to know who I pick to be the surprise, the bust. All my picks will be along all the other analysts and experts on fantasyalarm.com on the draft guide. I'm working on them now. I got some surprises in store, as they always do. Also, the dominating strategies. They tell you how to win. And no matter what type of league you play in, boom, we got you covered. We're already doing best balls. We have the best ball guide right now live. You can go and see ADPs for draft, for RT Sports, all the above. Boom. And the best part is 50% off instantly if you go to fantasyalarm.com/draft now. Use the promo code champion and 50% off. It's like $20. And it's like you're guaranteed to just dominate your draft. You're going to make everybody your bitch. That is right. You will dominate with this draft guide. I guarantee it. I stand behind it. I used it last year. I was in 6 championships. Beat that. I dare you. You know how you're going to beat that? Using the fantasyalarm.com draft guide at fantasyalarm.com/draft now. Get 50% off instantly. It really has everything, all the tools, everything you need. And as a bonus, all the seasonal articles and features for free all season long to help you dominate your leagues. So there you have it. fantasyalarm.com/draft now, promo code champion, and boom, you're winning with me. This song, man, just gets me going. I just want to snap along to it. Little beats. We got 17 seconds left, so I'm just going to let it go. I don't care. Boom. This is how I feel about this week in sports right now. Yeah. What an ending.
This is like almost like the end of the night when you're at a bar and there's just nothing going on. You got Edward just jamming to some elevator music.
That's it. That's it, man. That is it. That's some good. I wish they played that music in elevators. Like it's always like the Kenny G song that didn't make his album. You know, like never really like the perfect jazz song. But it's like, man, this would be perfect on like a kid's television show in 1972. Like it never. It's like terrible. Like you can't wait for that door to get to your level and that door to open unless you bang your head against the wall a few times. Oh, World Cup tomorrow, guys. France over Belgium, Wednesday, England over Croatia. Enjoy the World Cup. Enjoy this week in baseball because next week there is no baseball because the All-Star game is terrible because it means nothing and the players playing it don't deserve to be in there. At least 25 to 30% of them. Enjoy your summer league basketball watching. Some people, why, I don't know. And enjoy your summer. Go out there and have some fun this week. Go to the water parks in your community. Go swimming. And most importantly, have fun with the kids, man. It's most important that you have fun with your kids while they're out of school and let them know that you're the great parents that you are and they should watch sports and play fantasy sports as well. With that being said, for me and Mr. A to Z Anthony Zaragoza, say bye-bye.
Adios, amigos.
And Josh Stanhill, say adios.
Adios.
We will talk to you next Monday. We promise you we will do the All-Star edition of Fantasy Sports Jeopardy and much more. We'll probably do a recap of the World Cup, and we're going to start talking about what we're going to do for mock drafts and more on fantasy football coming forward because we're going to help you win with mock drafts, best ball drafts, more coming forward, more analysis, more fun, more Monday night extravaganza. Have a good week, everyone. Talk to you next Monday night. Boom.